A drone with a throne. A drone throne.
But if you're in it, isn't it not a drone?
I feel like you're getting really hung up on labels.
Hey, hello, how do you do? Shady Doorags here. The characters of Bojack Horseman are all extremely successful in the fields they've chosen to pursue. Bojack and Mr. Peanut Butter are big-name actors. Diane wrote a book that sold a bajillion copies. And Princess Carolyn has connections among connections to get her clients the jobs they need. And then there's the fifth character. The entrepreneur businessman who co-designed an app, was the vice president of multiple companies, and even became the governor of California.
Tell me about Todd.
Todd Chavez started on the show as a couch potato who did nothing but leech off of Bojack and commentate on the lives of people around him. However, it was discovered that the only ingredient missing in Todd to make something of himself was some self-confidence and a little guidance. After being mentored by Bojack, Todd was able to create a rock opera with so much potential that it impressed one of the biggest stars in the industry.
It needs a third act showstopper.
I had the same note.
But in all, it's spellbinding.
All right.
While the rock opera didn't pan out, this kind of success didn't stop for Todd. With his ambition and ideas, Todd was able to demonstrate his creative mind, and through it all, he wound up showing and impressing a good number of people that helped advance his career.
Every time I take a sip, pure happiness.
That was amazing!
Really?
Can I get you to say that in a tuxedo?
Hey, I gotta go. I think this is my big break. Executive Vice President of West Coast Operation? Whoa! Does that mean I control the waves?
No, it means you're my assistant. You got a big future ahead of you.
Yes. Yeah. I love you. Who is this kid? You're a genius. I'm gonna kiss your face.
What?
Todd's success becomes so remarkable that by the time we get to season 5, he's got a relatively better resume than the rest of the main cast.
This is a very impressive resume. You founded a rideshare app, you built and managed your own theme park, and you were briefly governor of California.
Okay, but I do actually need to go.
Oh, you need to go, all right. Straight to the top of this company.
Now, it's quite possible that this is just one of the show's many running gags. That the character who seems the least competent is the most successful in his endeavors is just meant to be played for laughs. However, even if that is what the writers intended, Todd's situation can still be applied to a particular discussion that's been going on for quite some time, that being the discussion of labels. People tend to associate certain characteristics when they hear titles. For example, someone who is a model is often thought to be very attractive, though that might not be the case. A model is simply a representation of something else. Thus, one does not need to be attractive in order to be a model. The discussion of labeling often comes from this, people assuming something about someone because of the title they possess. Now, these assumptions are not inherently ludicrous. Our human brains are doing what they do best, memory and pattern recognition. We assume models are attractive because the majority and or dominating experiences we've had with models have shown that to be the case. We apply those experiences to future ones and voila, we suddenly jump to conclusions. So how does Todd fall into this discussion? Well, Todd is a businessman and an entrepreneur. Certain assumptions come with those labels, and I would guess that for most, those assumptions are not found within Todd. Despite what people might assume, Todd does not let what he is dictate his characteristics. He's always been quote-unquote Todd and continues to behave that way through both success and failure.
He is truly the best of all.
Oh, hey guys. What you guys talking about?
His character tells us that labels do not dictate how one acts. Rather, they allude to how others in similar positions have acted before. Possibly also noting that this is the best behavior to succeed at the given position. But, like all discussions, there is an opposite side to the extreme. How many times have you heard someone say, "Don't label me"? While making assumptions based off of a label can lead downhill, flat out ignoring labels is also not the right action, as doing so is simply ignoring the human language. Todd also demonstrates this, as there are labels that he isn't comfortable calling himself.
You're great,
What a way to end a sentence.
but I want a boyfriend who isn't asexual.
Whoa, why did you call me that?
This is not necessarily because Todd doesn't like the word, but because he doesn't like what it describes. Being asexual is not something Todd wants to be, so he doesn't want to be called that either. However, as time progresses, Todd eventually settles into the label.
I think I'm Sexual.
He no longer runs from the label and realizes that while he might not want to be it, he does meet the definition of it, and he shouldn't be scared of the word. Or, to put it simply, he begins to accept himself for what he is.
It actually feels nice to finally say it out loud. I am an asexual person. I am asexual.
And even with that label, Todd doesn't let it confine him. He figures that being asexual shouldn't force him into a relationship with someone he isn't attracted to.
Yolanda, we need to break up.
What?
The only thing we have in common is that we're asexual.
He also does his best to not let asexuality stop him from having a relationship with Emily.
Do you ever think about what it would be like if we dated now?
I don't know. What would it be like?
So what's the takeaway here? Well, there's a lot more to discuss about labels than what's being represented in this show. But I think Todd's circumstance hits the main points. We will have titles labeled onto us for what we do because we meet their definitions. But that doesn't make us exact duplicates of everyone else who shares those titles. Not acting in a stereotypical format to a label you hold does not mean you'll no longer meet the base definition. But at the same time, running away from labels simply because we don't like what they say about us is just running away from the actual problem. Labels are a tool in the English language meant to help us. But just like any other tool, they can be used in ways that are not intended. The same way Todd accepts his titles, but doesn't let them tell him how to live his life, labels on people should be used for their intended purpose. Whoever you are, and whatever label you may hold, know that it is only meant to describe you, not define you. This has been Shady Doorags. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
I heard before he played Triangle, he was in a prison gang.
I heard he was a tech millionaire.
There is a rumor he is a foreign prince.
His name is Todd Chatters.